long time, but everybody wants to just go on the phone and hit record. I want to record this call that I'm on my phone. So it's all about context. So that is in there. Custom phone books. Switchvox allows you to create those phone books like we saw on the switchboard in the middle where I saw that list of my coworkers. You can really customize who you see there, and we're pushing that down out to the phone as well with phone feature packs. The company directory is also searchable and available through the Polycom, and call parking lots. So if you've parked a call somewhere, you can go to any of the Polycoms that are running with a phone feature pack and retrieve calls and toggle through the list and the whole deal. We also have distinctive ringtones, which I can tell you was really fun to test around the office, especially in the tech support area where everyone had some very exciting Mario and Zelda and all kinds of good stuff down there. Still there, by the way. Admins can turn that off, which we've considered doing many, many times. We also have hands-free click-to-call, and what I mean by this, I pointed out in the switchboard that you could click to call any of those people in your list. Before, it used to work in kind of a wonky way where you would click it, and then your phone would ring, and you'd pick it up, and then your phone would ring some more as it bridged the call. And now, it just goes off hook and does your speakerphone, and it's much nicer. You can toggle that on and off, though, too. Important to note that when we put features inside Switchvox, we're really not trying to check boxes off a list like you see from a lot of major vendors. They're really not concerned that you can use the features. They're just concerned about having the features. That is not our goal. We are not a big enough organization to handle all the support calls of people going, well, I wish it did this, and how do I get it to do it this way? We have to have options for everything. So admins have tons of control over permissions, over things like recording, monitoring, just about anything, the types of calls that a person can make. And all of these fall under that category where you've got a choice to turn this stuff on or off. You can now have multiple extensions on a single phone using phone feature packs. Before, it's pretty basic stuff. You had one extension, one phone, and then your phone book was the rest of the line keys. Failover was also something that we supported in a sort of rudimentary way. It was sort of the first step down that path for us where you could telephone to register to a secondary Switchvox server. Internationalization we covered. Before, the Switchvox GUI was only available in American English, and now when you load up that GUI, we've got text in UK English, so we spell color funny. We've got Italian, Castilian Spanish, Latin American Spanish, and then we have sound packs for all of those as well. Right, an S in internationalization. Thank you for yes, exactly. Well done. We also put an SNMP, so there's OIDs available for all kinds of different processes that are running on there, not just the basic ones that you would be monitoring for Linux, for example, or whatever. So lots of very specific, how many calls, alert me, whatever, if I've got too many. I hope you can, good, you can't see these. I was worried about the colors in here. So I mentioned that there was something in between 4.5 and 4.6, and that thing was Switchvox Mobile. So this is another thing we have been up to this year. Switchvox Mobile was released for the iPhone and for BlackBerry. When was that? July of this year. With this application, can't see it very well because it's kind of dark, but you can make calls through Switchvox, so it's going to look like you're in the office. And you could be anywhere, so that's kind of nice. There's also some billing implications there. So you're just receiving a call in rather than having to make a call out. Call history is available, so this is a really commonly used feature on most mobile phones, and I think not enough people use it on their desk phone because it's sort of a kludgy procedure, but how many times do you use your missed calls to call somebody back on your iPhone or your BlackBerry? Like all the time. It's all you ever do. So we have that in the form of call history. We've got the company directory, kind of like we did for the Polycom. We now have that on your mobile phone. We're trying to get all of this information unified and out there where you are working. And I use that one a ton, right? If I'm out at a conference like this and I need to reach somebody back at the office, now I don't have to have their whole DID in my phone anymore. I can just dial their extension and it's going to call through the Switchvox and work really nicely. And you can also manage your greetings through here. So if I've got multiple voicemail greetings recorded, one that says, hey, this is Tristan, I'm out at a conference, which I turn on every once in a while, I can remember to do that much after I've left the office, which I used to be pretty bad at. I can check my voicemail from here, of course, call people back, delete stuff, again, all my blinky lights will go off on my Polycom or whatever I've got on my desk. I can activate call rules. So this is another one I forget to do all the time. I'll go out to lunch and forget to turn on my out to lunch rule in the web interface. Now I just sit down in the car, hit the button, all good, and my calls chase me all over the place. So here's the important part. This was all developed using our Extend API. So anyone could have written these apps, but we did it anyway just because we could. So for any of you that are about to ask me when this is coming out for Android, the answer is go write it your darn self. The API is available to you. We may do it if we get forced into it. But seriously, go out there. There's a very good opportunity to go make an Android app. Extend. So a couple of weeks ago, we released another upgrade to Switchvox. And I just want to point out to anyone that's not familiar with sort of our model and how we sell Switchvox that when we release new versions of the software, if you have a subscription, which is kind of our maintenance, support, user licenses, and upgrades all rolled into one, you get this stuff for free. So that day that we went from 3.5 to 4.0 and everybody got fax and chat and video calling, like they had already bought their Switchvox. They just wonderfully get all of this new stuff. And so the same is true for all of our releases. And I don't think I mentioned it, but those iPhone and BlackBerry apps are free as well. So we're trying to really add value to the Switchvox solution and not charge you for every little feature like everybody else does. So 4.6 is really, again, designed for your peace of mind and your sort of safety and security to keep you really on the right track as an admin. Even those of us that know better sometimes make sort of silly mistakes when choosing passwords or setting up a network, and we don't want to see your phone bill charged, you know, $1 bazillion to some international number. It happens too often. So one of the things we rolled out was automatic IP blocking, so you can set your Switchvox up to note attempts from the outside world that are coming in, hammering, guessing passwords, and trying to get in there, and the system will automatically block them based on thresholds that you can set yourselves. But it comes with already set thresholds, so even if you don't do anything, this is one of those rare instances where we've added a feature into Switchvox and turned it on for you. A lot of times we'll add a feature and an admin has to go in and say, yes, I would like my users to be able to do this. This is like, you got to do it. You turn it off, but and it's really easy if it ends up blocking somebody by accident for some reason. Like we had that happen with developers, of course, that are working from home and doing all kinds of wacky stuff. You can just go into right in the admin interface and unclick the block, and you're unblocked. So this is a nice thing that I think a lot of resellers have been waiting for as well. Requiring strong passwords, kind of in the same vein. We don't want people to be able to guess your password very easily, or machines to be able to guess your password very easily. So all throughout the interface, where it really, really matters, you've got to have a strong password. If somebody guesses your voicemail password, I'm not super worried about it, but we don't want them registering phones or as providers to your system. So strong passwords. This is also a really, really cool one, I think. If you are familiar with Switchvox, you know that we've always had a button, I don't know about always, almost always had a button to enable tech support access, and then you would have to go forward supports on your firewall, and you have to do all this crazy stuff. Well, if you're a little dentist office, you don't know how to do all that stuff. So, and it also took time, right? You'd call us up, and you'd want us to get in there and take a look and help you out, and we'd say, okay, go do this, go do that, and call me back when you're done. It was kind of a pain. Now, in the same place where that old button used to be is a button that looks exactly the same, except what it does is it initiates a VPN tunnel back to us. So from your Switchvox box to the DGM offices, so that we can do that and you don't have to muck around with your firewall or forward any ports. Fancy stuff. One of the things that happened is Switchvox got bigger, our updates got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the process, we used to say, that's so easy, it's just one click. And really that one click would initiate the download of the update, and then as soon as the download was done, it would reboot your entire system, reinstall the OS, do whatever it was going to do. And there was never any control over when that was going to happen, because over time, that download might have taken a really long time, or if your bandwidth was throttled that day for some reason, you just didn't have any control. So what we've done is separate out the download process from the update process so that you can decide when to hit the update button, because the update process is quick. It's the download that usually takes a long time. Kind of in a similar vein, we've segmented up the backup files. So one of the great things about Switchvox is how easy it is to back up. It's just a couple clicks to get that set to run nightly or weekly or however often you want to do it, and FTP those out to your own storage. But what we've found is that those have gotten bigger and bigger, especially with things like call recording saved in there, which we actually broke out in 4.6. But music on hold files, voicemail files, all that stuff gets really, really big. And so now it saves it in a sequence. When you go to upload that backup again, it's going to ask you for them in sequence, and it walks you through the process so that it doesn't choke your browser, basically. Oh, it's funny in there. Right. Okay. So this is usually why people come to this talk if you're already a reseller. And you know that I usually do this whole song and dance about, like, I can't really tell you what's coming, and I don't know when it's coming, but I'm going to do my best this year. I think it's more information than I've ever given you. And I have 2 minutes to do it in, so it's good. So our goal with Switchvox is always to make your life easier and to save you time and increase your productivity. And we're going to keep doing that. And we've really listened to what it would help you. So for the people, by the people. All these features that came in as feature requests at features@switchvox.com. We sift through those all the time, and we've really tried to make sure that we continue to make things easier for the admin, like we always do, but this one is really about end users. All the features that are going in here are almost really impact the end users and the usability of the system. So with that, Switchvox is going to have an all-new look. It's going to be really, really beautiful. It's going to have just a major overhaul of the GUI. So yeah, it's going to look awesome with the new redesign, but we're really not doing it just to make it look better. We're looking at almost a 7-year-old interface at this point. And as hard as I tried when I made it, that new look looks really old now. So we're redoing it with an eye towards, now that we know how people use the system, we can make it better and faster and easier to do the stuff you do more frequently, and further simplify processes that might be pretty complex right now because they're stuck in an old paradigm. So, I mean, if you think about making groups with Ajax and how easy it is to drag and drop stuff into a big pile, like, you're thinking on the right track because that stuff just wasn't around back then. So it's going to be a lot easier to use. Now, I don't want to freak anyone out either. If you're familiar with the Switchvox interface now, you're not going to have to like relearn how all this works. Nothing's getting majorly like renamed or moved into somewhere totally bizarre. So you're cool. We're trying to make the setup of Switchvox a lot faster if you're not doing anything complicated. So just getting a system off the ground has never been very difficult, but